Alright, so welcome to another edition of this review, impressions, and just general ramblings about photography equipment. And here I'm going to talk about the Voigtlander 50mm VM APO Lanthar. I already have a video about the 35mm equivalent, which is this one. Again, it's in another video. If you watch through that, you're up for more punishment or boredom, I guess you come to the right video. So this guy. So short version, right? If you're looking to purchase an all-around 50mm sharp, like regardless of what, aperture or distance, and you cannot afford a Leica, skip all the other lenses, including the Summicron, the newest Summicron, and just buy this one. And if you really want a Leica, keep this one, save up for the Summilux or Apo Summicron, and you can sell it by then and buy any of those two lenses. Anyway, so coming back to this, right? So the only other mount that's available where this is native is the Sony E mount. The thing is that the Sony E has a somewhat different lens design than this one. I guess they made it such that it's this is more optimized for the Leica M mount. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason, because the 35, the lens design is exactly the same regardless of the mount. So just like just like any other Voigtlander APO Lanthar series, it's a step above the competitors, which includes the Cosina-made Zeiss ZM lenses. So I've owned a couple of them in the past, and no question, this is better. Build quality, design, like confidence with the caps and everything, including, well, the only thing that's kind of annoying is that it doesn't come with a hood. You have to purchase it separately, which is another $100. But you're not actually going to buy that hood in order to control flare, because this one is very resistant to flare. I've made some. It's actually very hard to get any flare in your photos with using this, with or without the hood. So for this, I actually just have a filter just to protect the lens itself, or the filter mount. As far as design goes, again, it has the spherical elements. It has the apochromatic elements or element to combat longitudinal chromatic aberration, otherwise known as purple fringing. The most inferior lenses will have a very pronounced purple or green fringing and in the out of focus areas. Don't get me wrong, it's not really totally eliminated with the APO lens element, in either of these two, there's still hints of those color fringing, but from where I'm standing, it's still much controlled compared to the others, and there's virtually no loss of contrast, even at wide aperture. So so that's one thing. And the other aspect that is probably often overlooked by a lot of reviewers, camera lens reviewers, is that this one has a floating lens element. Why is that a big deal? Basically, it means it has this set of the lens element in the lens that moves as you focus on the subject, which means you have consistent sharpness regardless of the focus distance that the lens is on. If you notice, like, with some of the other Voigtlander lenses, like the ones that doesn't have FLE, it will tell you, what is the optimum distance of the subject should be in order to get sharp images. Like usually it's mid-range, or because anything beyond that, like everything that's too close or maybe towards infinity, you don't really get, the sharpness is not the same. And it's because of that. They don't have floating element, and that's one of the reasons probably that these are more expensive than the other offerings that Voigtlander has. Those are the two aspects, really. I mean, the rest is pretty much, I guess, standard. It is, again, wide open, very sharp. I'll link to the description below for my Flickr album, where you can see how sharp it is. Most of the shots in there are wide open, so you can see how sharp it is. The bokeh or the out of focus characteristics, you can see that. But having I know I'm all praises on this lens. I mean, of course, it's not perfect, right? There's at wide open, there's vignetting. There's a little bit more pronounced than I would like. From my observation, the vignetting on f2 on this lens is worse than this on f1.4. I think that's what I'm seeing. Maybe not. Probably not that relevant, since you can correct this in Lightroom or like any raw conversion tool that you have when you do the importing of the photo. So it's probably not that big of a deal. But other than that, it's solid. It's, if you're looking for a M mount 50, can't really go wrong with this. It's the most versatile. It's probably the sharpest outside of what Leica's been offering. For today. So lastly, if you just to give you an idea of how large or small it is. So this is how it looks like with the 35. It's actually shorter than the 35. A few millimeters shorter. Thickness is about the same. Oh, by the way, the minimum focusing distance on this is 0.7 meter, so it's rangefinder coupled. You'll you'll have the ability to focus on the rangefinder regardless of the distance, which is important to me because I use M9 and the original monochrome, which doesn't have live view. Now compared with the Sumilux that I have, this is the Sumilux aspherical. It's about the same size, in fact, without the filter on the Sumilux. This is actually shorter, and this one obviously has a built-in hood, which is actually, again, convenient, but only uses mainly to protect the front element of the lens and not for flare control or anything like that. Because in my opinion, this is it doesn't flare, doesn't flare as much with this lens, and it's not very useful anyway. So yeah, so there you go. I mean, again, comparing this with this, right? What you can, it's like, if you're asking, should you pick this over the Sumilux? I mean, you're probably asking the wrong question. Because if you can afford this and like the APO Summicron Leica, you'll probably get that one anyway. So it's irrelevant like how good this is, because this is what you'll get anyway. But again, like I said earlier, between this or the Leica Summicron non-APO variant, I'll choose this. That's an exception, but if you're gonna ask me, what do I choose between this and this, I'll choose this one. No question. And so yeah, hopefully that gives insights to how would you decide if you want to get this lens or not. Hopefully this review and ramblings helped you get to that decision, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.